Okay, shall we begin? Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's Nantucket Park and Rec, October 20th, 2016. Welcome, everyone. Like to, are there any objections to the agenda? If there's no objections to the agenda, then we have adopted them.
I have no objection.
Okay. Are there, or to the minutes? Okay, so they are adopted. Any public comment? Don't see anybody out there?
I was thinking the same.
Last year was 2 men and 3 men, so this is great.
So guest number 1, we have Marjorie Trott.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Ms. Chair.
Oh.
For the record, the minutes are approved as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did say adopted. I don't know if you heard.
I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we have guest number 1, we have Marjorie Trott, and she's coming here to renew the Creative Movement class at Children's Beach Bandstand for summer 2017. And we received your nice letter, and is there any comments or?
I just had one question as I read it over.
Sure.
So this is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's not one long class. There's 3 classes that meet during that period.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives time for the.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like a typo 9 to 10 or something.
No. That way we get all the ages in there.
23, this is your third season, right?
My 23rd, if you say
Wow.
yes, yeah.
That's great. It's a long time. And it's very sweet that you still have the parents, the kids of the parents that you've taught years ago.
It's been amazing. It's been really fun. People are bringing me their children now
Uh-huh.
who had come.
So I only had one, well, I probably have a couple of questions, but one of my questions was, if there were an appropriate space available in the Tom Nevers Park, would that be anything that you would consider?
In addition,
I
or?
would be happy to do that in the afternoons in addition. The problem is, in the mornings, families aren't going to go out to Tom Nevers.
Right.
I
was thinking more trying
Yeah.
to accommodate sort of the Sconset
No,
families,
oh my
which
God,
there are so
Are
many
you kidding?
people
I'd
out
love to do
there.
an additional.
But we don't currently have, you know,
But if
the
you did-
space. But I was just thinking,
No,
well,
no,
you're
if you-
investigating a few things, and I just wanted to sort of feel you out to see whether that would be something.
Years ago,
Of
I used to do
interest.
things at the casino in the afternoon,
Mhm.
and, because you're absolutely right, just as no one from town will head out to Sconset, especially in the mornings,
Mhm.
Right?
people from Sconset do not, with kids, it's just too much.
That's what I was
So,
thinking,
yeah, if you got a space out
So
there.
something in that
think
area?
of me, please. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's great.
And then the other thing, and I have to say, I'm new enough to this that I have no clue on the payment arrangements. I'm not sure any of us do.
It's been 15%. This was, it
Right.
it had been 10% for years, and then it went up to 15%, not too many years ago, because you and I were both at that meeting.
4 years ago, I'd say 5 years.
So I think that, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but to me, because I am so new, that's fine. And, you know,
Thank you.
and then but I think we can become more knowledgeable
Oh, yeah.
over
You should know
over
we're asking
time.
you to approve, right? I mean.
Well, and we're trying to sort of get a grip on the whole funding piece for the park and rec.
Right.
So that's another thing. I was just trying to figure out what that meant because I had no idea how much it was. 5%, 2%, 1%.
Yeah, when I first
15.
started, there was no set percent,
Mm-hmm.
because the bandstand was built over my head that first summer.
Mm-hmm.
What didn't even exist when I first started.
But it's
And-
nice because it adds a lot of protection from the weather, right?
Depends on the wind, depends on the
Well,
direction of the wind.
obviously, but I mean, it covers at least 3 directions, 2.5.
It covers one direction, it covers the back and the ceiling, but
You
It's
must get
nice
some
to be outside.
shade from it by the time you do it, because when I
By
start.
10 o'clock, I get some shade,
Yeah,
but the
when I
first class
start,
has
there's no shade, and then by the end of my class, there's a little bit of shade.
Yeah, and by the end of my last class, it can be chilly. Not this summer. This summer, it was the opposite. But by in June and September, it can be chilly by the. But it's a lovely space. It's splinters and all. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah, so that would be another question I had regarding your experience with the condition of the bandstand or the area that you conduct the class in.
I have a lot to say on that one when you get to me.
Okay, it is what it is. It's a rustic, beautiful space. So, and everyone I know who I teach and who, when I show up, I go in with that, and I even warn people in my little schedule, dress appropriately, because you're not going to get air conditioning, you're not going to get heat, and if it's raining, obviously if the bandstand's wet, we're not going to teach there because it's dangerous, but if it's raining and a little is blowing on the edges, wear a raincoat. The floor is prone to splinters. I always have a first aid kit and insurance just in case. But again, people realize, hey, there's splinters here. We're outside in a public park. A few years ago, there used to be a lot more garbage cans, which was very helpful because I think it was Disney figured out, they did a study that if garbage cans are more than 28 feet apart, people won't use them. They will not walk more than a certain distance. They're really far apart in the park right now, which means that I spend a lot of time in the morning, and I'm sure you do, picking up litter that's on and around the bandstand. DPW workers try to pick it up, but really a garbage can would be much better because they wouldn't have to pick up so much. That's not as much of a concern as sometimes there's broken glass, which is what I called David when there was really bad glass this summer, but generally, there's not too much of that. Usually, it's a very safe space. If I see anything at all broken, I always call, poor David, and call you when I see it, if someone's been climbing on a railing or something, because that happens, it's a park, people are gonna, but it's a beautiful rustic space. The bathrooms obviously are not connected, so since I work with kids, that's why parents have to stay if they're young kids, because, or they say, you may have to go to the bathroom. I can't,
Right.
do that. So there are those limitations when it's really, really hot, the way it was this summer. Forgive me, I'm trying so hard to look at both, and you're all
That's all right.
different. So I'm not trying to not look at you, Maggie, honest.
Maybe I should pop over to that side.
When it got really, really hot, my enrollment, I think I put this in my letter, was much lower on the really hot days. I've been keeping records for 23 years of the weather and attendance and this and that. It's too hot. The kids want to be there. The adults don't want to be outside. Same thing if it's really, really, really chilly. Nantucketers will come in no matter what weather. My local families will come no matter what the weather. And if the beach is closed, if there's no swimming, not this summer as much, 2 summers ago we had a lot of beach closures, then that will affect my classes greatly because for the same reason, parents don't want to tell their children, no, you can't go swimming afterwards. So it is I consider it a sacred space. I think it's the nicest, maybe because even in the winter I walk on it and I hear children's voices. To me it's the most sacred space on Nantucket, barring none. I hope I'm not offending anyone's religion there, but I really feel that way. But it really is a rustic, outdoor, noisy space, which I also love, right? Because it makes everybody learn how to focus. No, I'm really serious. As an adult, how many of us ever get to work in the perfect environment? So teaching kids, hey, you can be up here doing yoga or dancing while they're playing games, as long as no one's throwing something at us. The noise is, but it is, that's what it is. It's just a rustic,
Do you
lovely
use any
place.
audio or enhancement with your?
I use a boombox.
Okay.
That's all I use. I know most of the neighbors at this point. I know almost all of them. There's one lovely old gentleman. He he's not old, I shouldn't say that, but he's older than me, who lives across the street, who if I don't play the dinosaur song every day, tells me he misses it. And I hear that from the men at the yacht club. Their favorite is the dinosaurs too.
Is there any changes from the previous year of your class or how you're doing your class? Or it's,
I'm sure there's changes every year. But you mean in terms of scheduling?
uh-huh.
No, what I usually do is I look at all the numbers to make sure that the classes are, every few years I've changed a class and offered a slightly different class based on if I go, no one really came to this one compared to the others. Or if during the winter I'll hear lots of people saying this, and I'll go, oh, we're going to have a slew of 7-year-olds instead of a slew of 3-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
But I have, unless I hear a great need, or you guys say we really want you to offer a different way, the schedule I have seems to be working. I should have brought you guys copies of my brochure from last summer. I'm sorry. I can
That's okay.
give you one of my
Next-
That's
Yeah,
okay,
we'll
next
find-
year.
Next year.
Well, I,
Just so we have an idea of the scope.
Well, I've got some in my car. I can drop them off. I can give you them on the way out if you want.
are there
they at
any
the
further
visitor
questions?
center?
So,
Are they at the visitor center?
not now.
Oh, but they are during the season?
yeah.
Okay, so I can pick one up.
I can give you one. I keep extras in my car. So.
Are there any further questions?
You said you use a boombox. Is it just battery operated, or
No, I plug it
you
into
do
the
plug
wall
it in?
because
Okay.
everything.
I'm just thinking with weather and the elements and
No,
all these
Sony
kind of things.
used to make they don't anymore. They're collectible. Waterproof things you plug in because I carry a lot, so batteries get heavy.
sure.
Yeah, that's.
So I make a motion that we approve Marjorie Trott to have creative movement classes at Children's Bandstand summer 2017.
Thank you.
I second that.
All in favor?
At the same
Favor.
rate as,
Any nays?
Are you saying that?
I am saying aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're
Come play
welcome.
with me next summer.
Maybe we'll get you a winter park also.
Oh my God,
We're thinking of new ideas for our park, so if you have any suggestions, we'll love to take them.
I'm gonna. Thanks.
Okay, our second guest is Bettina Brower, and she's requesting to renew her yoga class at Children's Beach Bandstand this summer 2017. And
My nice letter I brought in
Oh,
tonight.
I
They
didn't-
took it in the town building and they said, hold it for the meeting.
oh, okay, so tell us a little bit about your class, what time of day.
I just do a 1-hour class, 6 days a week, 7:30 to 8:30. It used to be 7 to 8, but we changed it a year ago, came into the meeting and got permission to do 7:30 to 8:30.
Nice.
It has not affected attendance a great deal, but it does make my regulars very happy to have that extra half hour, so it makes me very happy. So,
And how many days a week?
6 days a week, every day but Sunday. So, I just wanted to address the last 2 years, since there's been a new owner or manager down at and Children's Candy. I am basically a janitor in the morning. I come in and
Children's
I have to
Candy?
sweep that bandstand because I'm the first person there.
Where's Children's Candy?
Cafe, they do little concession stand.
That's what they
And,
did this year.
I've complained to a couple of people about it. It's just, this will only be my 17th summer next year, but it's never been like it has the last 2 summers. Whoever's managed has always taken responsibility before this to clean up the grass area. You know, I see them out there as I arrive, picking up stuff. The last 2 years, absolutely not. They don't touch anything. I have to be cleaning their candy because it's a lot of candy and kid stuff now, ice cream off the bandstand.
Wow.
And I sound like I'm complaining, and I am, because I've always had to sweep it. That's one thing. To have to be cleaning candy off every day and ice cream that's just not right. They have to, in my feeling, take more responsibility about the mess they make. candy wrappers all over the place. That's their trash. I totally
How-
agree with Marjorie that we need more trash bins, because they are, I would say, at least 1 out of 3 mornings, they're overflowing.
Okay, so,
DPW feels the same. I've talked to them.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like it's, it's kind of on overload for them down there. And
David, who are the people that manage the Children's Cafe, that own it?
It's Bart from Easy Street Cantina.
Okay.
I can't think of his last name.
tried to speak with him and very nicely, and he was very defensive.
And so how late are they open in the evening?
They are open in the morning, I think, from like 8 to 6, and or 8 to 5, and then they stay open till 8 o'clock during the concerts on Sunday night and the movies on Friday night.
To 8? Okay, so maybe we can speak to them again.
You'd have to have the facilities manager discuss
Okay,
that.
right.
We have a new facilities manager this summer.
Who's that?
It's Mark Lloyd.
Oh, okay.
Just somehow
There would need to also
communicating
be,
to
I
them
think,
that it
in
is
that
their
contract.
responsibility to pick up their trash.
Well,
And it has been on the increase because there's so much candy, which there didn't used to be. But
a lot of little,
it never was like this before.
okay.
The 15 years before that I've been doing this in the mornings, it never was like this. It's just last summer and this summer.
Is there certain days that are worse, like the movie nights or the,
Oh, always movie nights, but I kind of expect that. That's not what bothers me. It's a daily grind now for me. It's like I have to get there 10 or 15 minutes earlier than I do anyways to bring all my wet wipes and so forth to get all the stuff off the bandstand. Gum, candy, ice cream.
that's not good.
We've even had to put signs up on the pillars to
But of course,
say no.
the
Kids don't-
ignore those.
Yeah.
Ideally, if I were running the world, I wouldn't have a cafe that had a lot of candy and ice cream because
What?
it's just asking. But I think it's wonderful because it is a children's speech, but they need to take some responsibility.
Yes,
for cleaning up
exactly. I
after
agree.
themselves. So anyways, aside from that, it was usual wonderful summer. I wouldn't say attendance was down, but it wasn't increased, and I think because we did have such a hot summer, I get the direct sunshine until about the last 10 minutes in my class, and then everyone's doing relaxation with their head and a little bit of shade. And I'm loving how many regulars now after all these years. I had one woman who came literally every single day she was on the island.
Wow.
Most of the summer, so anyways.
That's
Okay.
great.
Is there any other questions or? So I make a motion that we approve the request from Tina Brewer to renew the yoga class at Children's Beach for summer of 2017.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? You have to say it.
None.
Thank you. Okay, so,
One thing about the trash,
Mhm.
can I just tell you where the 2 most effective trash cans were before they disappeared? Because this might make, I don't know if this, there was one that was directly, you know how the little path winds in front of the bandstand, that sort of driveway around in front of the cafe? There used to be a trash bin right under that light post, right there.
under lightpost.
So
Uh-huh.
that-
Near the picnic tables.
Near the picnic, so that it was visible from the bandstand. And I have to say, even young children were more apt to, and then there was also one directly on the harbor side of that path as you leave the park. So right now there's one by the porta potties. But let's face it, no one in their right mind goes out of their way to go, gee, I'm going to wander by the porta potties if you don't need to use. You just don't.
They don't even want to wander
They
to
don't
use them.
Right, you don't even look that way. So the 2 trash bins that were always the ones that I noticed families and kids using were the one right at the entrance on the side closest, and the one under that lamppost really was the one that took all of that litter off of the bandstand. So So I don't know.
And we really need a couple more because, again, 1 out of 3 mornings I come in, the trash is just overflowed and it's all over on the ground. And the poor couple of those DPW guys who come down and they're just having to walk around and pick it all
Yeah,
up.
it's like time and labor, it's, it's not efficient.
Seagulls never pick up after themselves. They're the worst.
We just got a tornado.
So, yeah, we'll definitely look into making improvements there. Mhm. Thank you. So is there any old business?
Old business.
Well,
Old.
we have
A
a,
week ago, a month ago, old, like
it
how
just
old
says
are
old
we?
business.
We're new, so,
Well, we could,
let me just. take
we
a
could
look.
bring up, so Campbell and I went around to a couple of parks. We're still learning what parks are under Park and Rec, what's under Land Bank.
But I do have an old business thing.
Oh, you do? Well, that's,
Yes, because
we
it
did
was in the minutes, and I'm just wondering, when Kara was here, she had mentioned sharing with the commission her list of improvements for the Tom Nevers Park.
I
And-
think we needed to contact her directly and meet with
Right, and I
her.
wanted to make sure that occurred, because it seemed to me there was that Jetty's business that was just came up, and Libby had her letter in the letter to the editor this week about the Jetty's concession, and so I just have a question from
Unless
newness.
it's, unless it's actually on the agenda or somebody brought it up under public comment, we could put it on next month's agenda.
Oh, the Kara thing? Okay. Okay. No, I was just trying to follow up on what you had, but apparently old business needs that be listed, so I will get you that before we have the meeting, so it can be on there, I guess. Sure.
So at what point do you bring up about the winter park and
That
If-
would be for an agenda item for next month,
so what do you bring it up under?
under when the next meeting is.
Oh, okay.
No, but is it new business? Because it would seem to me it could fit under new business.
It has to be.
On the agenda
Posted 48 hours in advance.
for everybody to discuss it.
But we haven't even discussed it.
We did a little bit 2 weeks ago with,
Okay, no, I'm just trying to, so then we're done. This is it. You mean, is
Well,
that what you're telling me? Because that's not my
Okay, so-
experience, so I'm just trying
Okay,
to
in the
figure out
future-
how
Probably
we
in the future,
create this.
if you can contact the chairperson to, in advance, to say, I'd like to discuss this.
so this,
Okay, no, I thought that we had, at the last thing, and I could be mistaken, but I thought we had asked to put on discussion of innovative ideas for the use of the parks.
we did.
Okay,
So
maybe, all right, then that's new, that's.
we didn't ask to put it on. We said that we were going to get together like a subcommittee
Yes.
and meet and discuss. So what I'd like to do is put on the agenda for next time. Campbell and myself had gone to Winter Park and Tom Nevers, and we have a lot of ideas that we'd like to, yeah,
So that was.
Last week.
New business item number
Five.
5.
right, that was last,
From last month.
So
was
that-
discussion about creative uses for public parks.
so it'd be old
So
business
does
now.
that make it old
Unless
business?
you have
I'm just trying to figure it
you
out.
have to communicate with the chairman to get it on the agenda for the current meeting, more than 48 hours or more.
So the
So-
public can be here
Okay,
too.
but so, just because I need to straighten this out for myself, because I need organization. It's just the kind of person I am. Sorry.
so-
So, here's something that I do in some other kinds of meetings, is that when we set the next meeting, we also set the agenda, so everything's very fresh in our minds, so that it is put into the next agenda without having to do me getting in touch with you to get in touch with David.
Well, that's the kind of the pecking order, right? It goes like you would ask me,
Yeah.
tell me, and I would
Yes.
relay it to him.
Well, no, I'm on other
I mean,
commissions. You can make adjustments, that's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Like, you can
Yeah.
set an agenda so
I
that
guess what-
discussion
what I'm
about creative
trying-
uses for public parks is added
Okay.
to this as a continual item.
As like a carryover each time? Like,
Well, I'm thinking because it's something we would like to be talking about each time, you see what I mean? Because we're not able to get together, all together, unless we're at this meeting. So then if we have this already on here, we
well,
can always say,
it's
we don't
Chairman's
have
prerogative.
anything.
Yeah, and I
We
just
don't have
asked,
anything to talk about.
And when I discussed the agenda with you, I asked if there was anything else.
right, and I said this week that we would put this on for next
Okay.
week,
Next month.
next month, Right.
Okay.
right? So you have, we'll
So
have that.
put on next month's agenda.
Okay, perfect. So,
Okay.
is there any further business to discuss
We can't
for,
discuss anything. I'm here all ready to talk,
I know,
and we can't. So
well,
then the answer would have to be no.
okay,
Because we've
so our
done
next
everything on
meeting
the
is
agenda.
November 17th, 2016. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Right? I mean, that's all we can do.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, gentlemen.